In 2019, I ate oatmeal twice a day, sometimes 3, for 9 days straight because I couldn't afford anything else. That was the only food I could afford. I was so broke that I literally did not have enough money to go to the grocery store and buy more food for myself. I lived in an 80-foot square room that I rented from a dude named Andrew that I found on Craigslist for $500 a month because it was all that I could afford. And like, God bless Andrew for real. And the walls were like, I say that the walls and the carpet were beige because that's how it is in my brain, but honestly, I think they were just old and like yellowed, like they used to be white. And there was a drop ceiling with like those yellow stains on them. And like the shitty hollow plywood doors that never actually close. Those were what the closet doors looked like. And I was 32 and I was just getting sober. Like this was the first place that I moved to. This was the first apartment, like room in an apartment that I rented after I got out of treatment from getting sober. And I would buy the big giant canisters of Quaker Oats because it was cheaper than the packets. And then I would mix them with water and like a little bit of my roommate's whole milk. Don't tell Andrew. Thank you, Andrew. And like Wawa sweetener packets. I made $11 an hour at a local athletic wear company, and I would fold leggings, right? It was a retail company. I would fold leggings. And at the time, I was in yoga teacher training. And I was struggling so hard, like so hard. And I could have called my mom and asked for help, but I didn't because I was proud and I wanted to, I always knew that I wanted to have a really big, successful, exciting life that I carved out for myself. And I knew that I needed to figure out how to do it. I needed to figure out how to do it on my own, right? Because I got sober and people really carried me for months and months and months during that process. And I was proud, I was proud. I wanted to figure it out. And I don't know, you could look at that as a good thing or a bad thing, either way. But, while all of that was true, I remember I loved that apartment. I loved not that apartment. I really didn't even go into the rest of the apartment, like the room. Later down the line, he let me put a little painting studio in the basement and I would make art. And, it was my first sober place that I lived. And I remember he used to actually sit out back. There was this little tiny cement, you could call it a porch. It was like a cement block, out back. And him and his girlfriend used to sit out back and she would drink wine and he would smoke pot. And I know at the time, people were worried about that. And I remember thinking, I was never a pot smoker. So I was just whatever, and I could smell it every once in a while. And I didn't even care. And I was excited to see my progress, that I didn't care, that I didn't feel like I needed to be a part of. I was just so happy in my new circumstances and being sober and rediscovering who I was and working towards this next version of who I actually really wanted to be. Not a fucking person that took a really bad turn and almost drank themselves to death. And I was so grateful then, and I am so fucking grateful now. Don't get it twisted. I could describe those circumstances and look back and be like, damn, that was crazy. But I was so full of gratitude for what I had then, just like I am now. And then this year, cut to that was 2019 when I got my yoga teacher training certification. Cut to this year, I had a $30,000 month. There was a month this year that I have made more money in 1 month than I did in the entire year of 2019. That is facts. If I could show you my tax return, I would. And I'm about to break 100K in under 6 months in my third yoga business. And I'm going to tell you what happened in between, what happened before, because it's not what you think. And it's definitely not what people sell you, right? It's not what people fucking sell you. So this is a reintroduction episode. I know that there's a lot of new people here. There's a lot of new followers on my accounts. And I want you to know that you are more than just a yoga teacher, because so am I. And I always have been. I always have been. And I bet you have been too. okay? My name is Heather Petrosky, and I am so much more than just a yoga teacher. I'm a painter, like I'm an artist. I'm a dog mom. I have a dog. His name's Buddy. Well, his name's Boomer, but I call him Buddy. And he's 11.4 years old. I'm a girlfriend. I've been the most incredible, incredible fucking partner in the entire world. Oh my God. I'm so obsessed with her. It's like, God, I've honestly, like, if I'm being totally honest, I met her. We used to bartend together before I got sober, and I've been obsessed with her for probably 11 years now. And I'm going to marry her one day. I'm a daughter. My mom is like my bestie. I'm a smartass. I curse. I say fuck. I don't give a fuck if people don't like that. I'm a rock star, literally. Like, I'm a rock star human being. I do huge, amazing, incredible things. I'm an artist. I'm a thought leader. I'm a coach, and a hell of a good one. And if you hang out long enough with me, I promise you, I'll rub off on you, or you'll run to the hills. But either way, I win, right? Like, that's the point. That's the point for me. That's the point for all of you, that I get to be so myself that people know that I am for them, or if I am not for them, and then it all works out, right? But if you hang out with me long enough, you will start to believe that anything is also possible for you. Anything. Because that is what people know deep inside of them. And I am really good at helping you see it. I'm going to talk about my life, and I'm going to talk about business, and I hope you stay for the ride. This is going to be a little bit of a longer episode, but I wanted to record this because I am not the same person that I was, God, even 6 months ago. And neither are you. And that's how it's supposed to be. I say fuck a lot, right? Like, I say shit and fuck. I say fuck more times than whatever. I mean, I did read an article that people that curse a lot they generally have a higher intelligence. So, I mean, I don't know if that's actually proven, but I love that. And I sometimes say it more than I mean to. And I've been criticized for it. I've had people share things that I write and they apologize for my cursing on my behalf. And I think it's so funny because here's the deal. They're allowed to think that. And I'm also allowed to not care at all. And I don't, right? And I'm going to keep cursing. I make typos in everything I do. Everything I do. Because one of my core mantras is done over perfect, right? Like done is always better than perfect. And I move fast because wealth loves speed. Because procrastination and people sitting around thinking about all the things that they want to do in their life are literally where most good ideas get killed. And if that bothers you, if typos bother you, I'll probably drive you insane. Sometimes I actually make typos on purpose because then people will know that I'm not AI, that they're actually hearing like my real uncurated fucking thoughts. So maybe it'll cure you. Like, maybe it'll let that part of you go a little bit. I've been sober for 8 years. I spend majority of my time with my dog. I literally get a little bit of anxiety when I have to leave him. I can't wait to marry my partner one day, and I barely wear shoes. Like, I have crusty yoga teacher feet, and I always will. I was just like born with them. I guess I could probably do something about it, but I don't have time, and it's not a priority for me. Sometimes I wear blazers, and I wear blazers without shoes. Sometimes I spend all day in a big t-shirt and my underwear. I don't think I have to show up polished and like super ultra organized to be an incredible, incredible businesswoman. I walk every single day. Like, a lot. I take the best care of myself that I can. I love plants and books and podcasts, just like you probably do. My mom is like one of my bestest friends and favorite humans alive. And I can chant and sing in Sanskrit and play the harmonium. And I can get almost anybody I know into a handstand. It's like generally one of my superpowers. But I also know how to make hundreds of thousands of dollars through meta ads. And I am one of the bravest motherfuckers I know. So here's my like generic who I help statement. It's like, I help yoga teachers make more money. I help yoga teachers and spiritual entrepreneurs run the businesses of their dreams. And yes, this is so true. It's so, 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 so true. But it's also the most boring sentence I've said about myself the entire time. Because what I actually help people do is get rid of their shame and break through boundaries and throw out old mindsets and step into the next fucking version of themselves that they used to be so terrified of. And that is how you actually make more money, right? So here's the thing about the oatmeal story. People hear that story and they assume that I came from like this hard upbringing or whatever. And I didn't. I lived a really, like, beautiful, incredible life. Like, yes, I had to battle with getting sober, and that, like, created some really ugly years, right? But I went to art school. I went to Moore College of Art and Design, and I was a painter, and when I was in art school, I made my very best friend. I met her when I was 19, and I essentially, like, forced her to be my best friend, and she is still my best friend to this day. Like, to this day. She will always be my best friend, and I don't know somebody that, like, knows me better than her. She's been here for every version of me, you know? I've painted hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of paintings. I moved to Rome. I love to travel. I moved to Rome when I was 22 and North Africa. I lived in North Africa, which was wild. I almost got kidnapped and I ate the best food I've ever eaten in my literal entire life. I still think about it on a regular basis. I learned how to make fresh bread, like actual fresh bread from scratch in a clay oven on the family's house, on the roof of the family's house that I was staying in Tunisia with my partner's grandmother at the time. Her name was Majuba, and she didn't speak a word of English. I like have overstayed visas. I've snorkeled in the Great Barrier Reef. I've swam at the top of Victoria Falls. I've jumped into a shark cage with my mom. We've done an African safari. I saw a ping pong show in Thailand, also with my mom. If you know, you know. Go look it up. I have so many memories with her. And listen, but with all that being said, I have always had to create the life that I wanted for myself. Like, nobody was rich. Nobody was ever handing me anything. I've had to stay in some pretty scrappy places. But the point is that life was never not beautiful. But when I got out of treatment and I rented that apartment, I was 32. And I had decided at that point that I was done ever being carried. People helped me a lot when I got sober. Like, it was an emergency into treatment situation. If you know, you know. And, you know, like my mom and her husband had to go clean out my apartment, you know, like, ugh. Which I was so ashamed of for so long. But it's like, of course, I would do that for anybody. There was a lot of like people that helped me through that situation so that I could get the help that I needed at the time. And so I wasn't going to ask anybody for anything else, right? So I was going to eat the oatmeal. And honestly, I didn't mind it. I would literally do it all again. I would do it all again because that experience and that stuff is my superpower. It is what makes me special. It is what helps me connect with people. It's just a part of my story. And these skills that I learned at that time serve me today and in even like bigger and better ways, you know? And it's not about like the bad things that happen. I love this quote. I think about it all the time. Like, your past doesn't define your present or your future. Your present defines your past. You get to write your story. Sobriety is one of my greatest assets. It's not my whole identity. It's not a business plan, but it is a fucking superpower. And it is one of my absolute greatest assets. Okay, so then after I got sober, I opened a yoga studio in 2021. And I would love to tell you that my money problems resolved themselves, but they didn't. It got worse. In a lot of cases. Well, sometimes not, but sometimes yes. But I was ready. Like, everything in my life had prepped me to be in this next situation, which I know this situation that I'm going to describe is where a lot of you are at now. So pay close attention, okay? So I opened a studio in 2021 and I opened it with a literal $12,000 personal loan. And I remember thinking, fuck it, how hard could it be? That's literally what happened. I thought, how hard could it fucking be to own a yoga studio? Everybody else does it. Why can't I? And I'll tell you what, that thinking has like gotten me far in a lot of situations in life because I don't take a lot of time to like perfectly plan out everything and make sure that I can do it. Like, I just do it and then I figure out how to make it work. And that is a trait of a highly successful person because the people that putter around in the beginning eventually putter themselves out and they never end up doing anything. So I rented this this room, this space in this building. And the building was like, it was this old ass fucking building, like that you pulled up to it and you were like, where the fuck am I? Like, you were like, what is happening here? It was over top of a auto repair place. And there was like a CrossFit gym in there and a pest control place. It was one of the weirdest, oldest, strangest buildings ever. Like, it was a commercial building area, but it wasn't like a regular, like, strip mall that you would think about. And the magic of it was, and I used to tell people all this time, like, you'd walk in and you'd be like, my God, like, this is so beautiful and it's so big. Like, what a surprise. And it was this perfect little gem where people got to know each other and build relationships and practice yoga. And it was great. It was beautiful. Like what an amazing part of my life that I got to experience. And I used to like, the roof leaked and the ceiling tiles would turn yellow. This was like a theme in my life. I'm always like, I'm never renting anything with a drop ceiling ever again. But I loved it and it was mine and it was my first business. And it was amazing until it wasn't. And just like any business, I did a lot of things really, really right. And I did a lot of things that were huge lessons, some expensive, some not, some emotional, right? Notice I didn't say I made a ton of mistakes, right? Because that's not what happens in business. You just learn. Not going to do that again. Gonna get better at that. Need to learn how to set better boundaries. Like that's the whole game on ad infinitum forever, right? And the studio was rocking and rolling. Like I did really, really well from the outside. And I had a team of teachers. I had an assistant. I expanded, right? I rented more space, I rented other studios inside of that space. Like at one point I had 4 leases in the same building in different little areas of the building. Like I actually had an apartment in the same building. I had an office and then I had my school. I had Weeby Yoga School. And the school on its own from a revenue standpoint fucking crushed it. The studio is where things were more inconsistent. And my bills, like the way that it looked then, at least for the first few years, it would be like a $30,000 month. And then I'd have a $10,000 month. And then I'd have a $1,000 month. And then a $5,000 month. And my revenue looked like a fucking heartbeat monitor. And it felt like I was supposed to be on one because it was a nervous system ride that I was not prepared for. I wasn't in the budget. The bills were getting paid every month for the most part, like payroll would get paid. I remember at one point, like I owed Pico $3,000 and I had to borrow it from my grandma. There was one thing that was never in the budget though, and that was me. I was teaching almost all of the classes because I thought that was my job. Anytime somebody needed a sub, I would do it to keep payroll down. I had a staff, but I had no idea how to like build culture and teachers that actually cared. And I was terrified to sell. I was terrified to ask somebody to join the membership, and I would like pawn the conversation off on people or on a generic email or on the teachers, and it made it worse. There wasn't any systems in place behind it. It was a disaster. And my business strategy basically ran on me thinking that I had to be the best and the funniest and the most creative teacher in the room all the time. I had to teach the most interesting shapes. I had to be the most fun. People had the most fun in my classes. My classes were the hottest. And look, a lot of that's true. Like I am really funny. And I was a damn fucking good teacher. Like how could you not be a good teacher when you're teaching 22 classes a week? That's how many I taught in the beginning. That it wasn't always like that. Like I eventually got down to like 12, which was also way too much. Like 12 is too many, y'all. But I was doing so much. But so much of my plan was just like, if people like me enough, they'll come back. And I built a business where I was available 24/7. So I had zero boundaries and nobody ever had a reason to respect any of my boundaries because I never set them. And then I was resentful. I was so resentful. I was resentful at my own students and I was resentful at my own staff. This kind of behavior breeds resentment. It's like not a shocker. I see my clients experience this all the time when they're burnt out, right? You're burnt out because you don't put boundaries and expectations for people in place. And then you're resentful at those exact people for not following your invisible boundaries and expectations. And then you're frustrated. And really, it's just a systems problem, right? I was available around the clock to subclasses that I paid myself $0 for. It was a disaster. And then I moved into the next phase of like knowing that there was problems, right? And like knowing I had to fix them. But honestly, it was being too scared to like actually invest in myself. And like, I kind of like knew I needed help, but I wasn't exactly sure like which direction to go. And so I started doing shit like downloading freebies for yoga studio owners on the internet and like following different accounts. And like, I remember I bought a $27 like pack your class challenge or whatever from somebody. I literally don't even remember who it was because I didn't go. Like it was virtual, y'all. I didn't show up. I would started buying like social media courses. Like that like $97 course, the master class on building an online yoga membership. Like I did all that shit. But the thing is the reason why none of it worked and the reason why none of it really even got done, to be honest, is because underneath it all, we all fucking know that a $27 course isn't going to solve the real problem at hand. It's not. And I would sit around and I would compare myself to other people and I would be in like victim-y mode, like, woe is me. I spent a lot of time like watching other yoga studios and seeing what they were doing online. And like, I just wasn't being honest with myself about what I really wanted to do. And then I fell into so many of like the classic yoga teacher patterns where I had 4,600 million ideas and I would execute on them. I would do them. And let me tell you, from the outside, that shit looked good. Like I had ice baths and sound baths and events. And the studio was hopping with people and stuff. And I could put it on social media and make it look really cool. And everybody's having a really good time. But you know what it's not doing? Bringing the studio in reoccurring revenue. It made me work harder than fucking ever to put all these events out and like get them filled up. And then I would pay that money out to the vendor that was putting on the event. But I was doing tons of work because I also didn't know how to set up proper contracts to like make any money for the studio. And I would work so hard and I had a huge list of customers, but I didn't know how to sell a membership. I didn't know how to create reoccurring revenue. And I was going at 150 fucking miles an hour in the wrong directions. And then you know what happened? My hair turned white. My hair did not even turn gray. It turned white. It still is pretty white. It's pretty badass, actually. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I love my fucking hair. 2 years into owning that studio, I looked in the mirror. Like, we had big mirrors along the wall, and I was like, damn, the whole like front of my hair is white, not even gray. You could visibly see, like, it was rapid, like what the stress was actually doing to me. And like, man, I remember I would just like sit on the floor in the hallway of my apartment and cry. And it wasn't because the business was failing. Like I was actually like, I look back on that time and I'm like, man, I was killing it. But I wasn't, because even though the bills were getting paid and everybody else was having a great fucking time, I never made any money. And I was working around the clock and I never took a day off. I had a staff that wasn't on board and I had sold my soul to being physically present in that building for a $0 return. And I couldn't name it at the time, I couldn't name it at the time. There was like, it's a very specific kind of burnout that comes from running a business that's technically working, maybe, because people can talk about a failing business. But like what was happening is the business was surviving, but it was surviving at the cost of my body and of my nervous system and of my mental health. Like they say that most businesses fail in new business or whatever the statistics are. And it's not that most businesses fail. It's that people quit, and they quit right at this point that I'm talking about, right? They quit right at this point because they think they can't do it. Well, I've got news for you. You can, but you need a better fucking plan. So I made some shifts. I did figure some things out, I hired better people. I dropped my class schedule. Like there's all kinds of things that happened in between. And I did end up selling that studio last year in July 2025. And I still had my school. So I kept the school, but I sold the studio. Fun and confusing times for everybody. But then something crazy happened. And this thing that happened next is the single thing I am the most grateful for that has happened in my business, because it was one of the toughest and it forced me to really like slow down and take a look at like what I actually fucking wanted and make the best shifts and pivots I've ever made in my life. So I had this teacher training group that was pretty large. It was a large teacher training group. And they were the most challenging teacher training group I have ever had in my life. One of the students actually told me that they were planning to take me down, ruin my reputation, and wreck my career. Those were words that came out of a student's mouth to me. I caught people talking shit about me in like the bathrooms more than once I overheard it. And there was just like a plethora of really, really crazy things that happened. And it would be so fucking easy for me to blame other people. It would be so easy. It would be so easy. Are there things I could have done better? Sure. But I'm so happy that it happened the way that it did because I take full responsibility for my life and exactly who I am and exactly the person that I want to be. Just like when I got sober and had to eat fucking oatmeal, because it forced me to have realizations that have dramatically changed who I am, the way that I operate, and in turn, my income in a big fucking way. And the realization is that I had to stop outsourcing me. I had to be the fucking star of the show. That's it, guys. I was never going to build a business by being an agreeable, people-pleasing, can't offend me, palatable version, shell of myself yoga teacher. I had to get so fucking clear on who I am and what I believe and who I want to help and the life I actually want. And I knew all this stuff. Right? And like pieces of it would come out. But I had to get clear on it out loud, right? Because not only do you set yourself so free when you do that, but then the people that are meant for you, they can hear you and they know how to find you. And then the people that are not meant for you will stay the fuck away. You don't bring in the wrong people because you're people pleasing and can't set boundaries. I stepped all the way the fuck into saying out loud that I am here to make money and I don't give a fuck who feels any kind of way about that because that's for them. I stepped all the way into not caring what the wrong people thought about me, right? Because if you're going to do big things in your life, people are going to talk. Some people are going to admire you and other people are going to gossip about you. Okay? But here's the deal. Neither of those things actually make you any money. So keep it moving, sister. You will trigger people just by being your happy, most authentic self. Just by being happy. People will be mad at you. There is like a war on happiness in this world. You get to decide what fucking side you want to be on. I choose the happy side. And so I made some massive, massive shifts in how I operate, in what I do. I did a lot of fucking soul searching. And listen, there's no perfect system now or ever, right? But I stopped letting fear control me. Because the truth is, guys, is like there is no perfect step-by-step strategy that's going to have your back the whole way and be guaranteed to work. There's no template for you to follow that's going to guarantee you any success. When we rely on these things, it's just your way of trying to control your fear. And I know because I've done it 1,000 times. So here's what I actually like started to do differently. The things that really started to shift the needle for me. I stopped trying to be polished. I stopped giving a fuck of what I look like on camera. Right? Like, I know that sounds so silly and so little, but it was such a thing that like set me free. You know, I became the same version of myself everywhere, whether it's the internet, my classes, my emails. And there are some people that will argue that I've kind of always been this way, but I like really went to the next level with it and stepped out of fear and worrying about what people thought of me. I started building a disruptive brand. And what that means is that I say what is true very confidently, whether it will piss people off or not. I talk about what I think about in this industry on purpose, and I know exactly who it's going to annoy. I stopped discounting. I hope you hear this. I stopped discounting the things that I do ever. Do I offer people scholarships and do I give out of abundance? Yes, there is a piece of my business that will always operate that way. And it's like up to my discretion. And I do it from a place of generosity, not from a place of fear. But I do not discount my packages so that people buy them. Fuck that. Because the truth is, I don't want people that only buy from discounts flooding my containers. Like, I don't want people that think that way being at the core of my life. I stopped keeping people on my staff or working for me that made my job harder rather than easier. I let those kind of people be around for years. And I started telling my students and clients no. right? I put real boundaries around how and when I communicate, like when I am available. Like nobody gets my phone number anymore, you know? Then I made a big move. I sold my studio in 2025. I could have held on to it. I could have kept going, but I sold it. And it was the best move I ever made. There was so much beauty in owning a studio. But I'll be honest with you, a lot of these things are massive emotional outputs and time constraints and labors of love. And the profit margins like don't match that. Right. And then in 2026, I ended all of my teacher trainings. And I knew that I was going to close my school, but I wanted to do a final teacher training. And so I finished out the trainings that we had. And then we closed this school in June of 2026, which means I finished my last teacher training about a month ago. And it took like literally a year and a half to slowly close that business down, to close down We Be Yoga School. And what I didn't share is that hottie boom baladi that I was telling you about, my beautiful girlfriend Hannah, I moved to Arizona in February of 2025. So it's going back and forth, right? Back and forth, like all this stress I just told you about. I was going back and forth from Philadelphia to Pennsylvania or Warrington, PA, where my yoga studio was, back and forth. And it was brutal. Oh my God, it was so brutal. And at first I really thought it was a great idea and I could make it work, but I was just running myself so dry. So now I'm finally full-time living on the West Coast with the love of my life. And during that time of the transitioning out of one business, I built a full online business because now I know what the fuck to do, right? I know it works. I have invested insane amounts of money in learning the skills that I have today, from how to actually use AI, not to use AI to write or to be creative, but like how to use AI to run different parts of your business, and how to sell and how to market and how to utilize technology to the nth degree. Like I'm a little fucking tech guru. Ask any of my clients. I can build you ads and a website and you wouldn't even believe how fucking quick I am. But I don't even want to say rebuilt. I built this new business that's been around now for 6 months. And like I said in the beginning, I'm about to crack 100K in less than 6 months. And I built it to be predictable instead of impressive. Like so much of my old businesses were like, I don't know, based on what other people wanted me to do, based on ego, based on wanting to look like I had something successful, and now my offer suite is tight instead of random. I don't need to sell a fucking sound bath or an ice bath and then convince those people that they need to come back so that they join my yoga membership. Like the things I have actually make sense together. I can turn meta ads on and off like a faucet to work for me. I utilize and leverage social media like a boss, right? Because I have years and years and years of experience of showing up on camera now, and I know exactly what works. Right? I know how to get to my people. And I essentially, y'all, I just say the same things every day, over and over and over again, with different ways of saying them. How you think that you have to teach a new sequence and be creative all the time. Like people do that with social media. Like it has to be new and fresh all the time. That couldn't be further from the truth. That's how you burn out as a teacher and how you burn out on content. Right? And I know and do all this stuff so well because I invested in the things to make this happen, to learn these skills instead of going out and getting more and more teacher trainings. And I do this all with recurring revenue from high and low ticket offers. It's really simple. It's actually so simple that it's pretty boring in a way. And that's the point. I always tell people, when your business gets boring, that's when it's going to be good. That's when you're actually going to have predictable income. That's when you know it's working, when it gets boring. Some of you just need to learn how to do the boring, repetitive tasks. Like you say you want the thing, the results and this life, but you're not willing to do the things it takes to get there because you're addicted to doing the next exciting thing because you think that's going to solve your problems. And in reality, it's really quite the opposite. I have had illogical results, right? Like results that I have had people question if they're true. Right? Because I was willing to do illogical things. I've taken so many fucking risks throughout this, guys. I just told you about some of the pain points, but I didn't tell you about all the loans I took out to pay for payroll or to hire a coach. I have never taken average action and gotten average results. People think that they can do average actions and get illogical results. And that's not how it happens, right? If you want an unpredictable life that's full of like miracles and revenue and things that people like that they won't even be able to fathom in their lifetime, and they will stay at their 9-to-5 job and work there until they're dead, you cannot take average actions if you don't want that. You have to take absolutely illogical actions, things that look completely illogical to the average human. That is how you get insane results. But here's the caveat. You have to also, and all of the most successful people you know, including myself, you also have to walk through illogical amounts of fear. Selling my studio to some people was illogical. Closing a studio that people reach out to me about on a regular basis to join, that was illogical. Moving to Arizona across the country and shutting down my business was illogical. That was crazy. I made a massive, massive, massive pivot, but I knew that it actually was going to fully support the dream life that I am looking for and what I actually want. I want to live on the beach in California with the love of my life, with a business that I can run from anywhere with a Wi-Fi signal and make crazy money and make insane impact because I help other people do the same thing and build things that give them illogical results and help them be brave and take courageous risk and walk through their fear. That's the dream, y'all. And in order to get there, I had to do some scary fucking shit. Scary. Scary, scary, scary. I feel like I'm still walking through it, but that's okay because that's the game. And I'm in love with the game. I'm like, I love this shit, you know? And so many people are just in love with their like perceived results. And if that's all you're in love with, it's going to be a long road for you. That's why people quit, because they don't actually love everything in between. Because like I said, I was fucking obsessed and grateful for my life when I was eating oatmeal. I was just so happy that I wasn't that person who couldn't stop drinking. And I loved that little shitty room and my weird roommate and the new life that I knew that I was carving out. And there were things that have been so fucking hard, but man, I have enjoyed this ride. And I know that I am just getting started. I'm just getting started, y'all. Like the best is yet to come. So today, you know, this year, like I shared, I've had over a $30,000 month and I plan to beat that. I plan to beat that, bitches, by the end of this year, right? We still have a couple months left. It could even still be this month. It might be. Oh my God. I have made over 12K every single month for over the last 2+ years. I could go back and look. It's actually probably closer to 3, but let's like be conservative. I'm going to break 100K in this brand new business in less than 6 months. I don't teach weekly classes anymore. Like I don't teach a regular weekly class at a studio because let's be honest, they don't pay enough. And it's just like not like totally worth my time to make it a regular thing. And if I ever teach again, it'll be for free because I want to, because I feel like it. You know, my live coaching is like 2 days a week. And today my life looks like really slow mornings. Most of the days I don't even set an alarm. The only reason I set an alarm today is because I live in Arizona and it's so fucking hot in the middle of the summer that I have to get up and walk Buddy before it gets too hot, right? I walk every day outside. Again, have to walk really early in the morning right now before it gets too hot. I spend an oodles of time with my beautiful girlfriend. I can work out at like any fucking time I want pretty much. Like I can work out at 4 p.m. or 2 p.m. on a Wednesday. I get to cook for myself. Like I know that sounds really silly, but like I can cook delicious, beautiful meals for myself. I love cooking. I get to choose what I want, you know? I can drive to California or Mexico any fucking random weekend I want and be on the beach by dinner time, y'all. And nobody calls me to sub a class or to unclog a toilet unless it's my own. And by this time next year, I am hoping to live on that beach in California by next year in Ocean Beach. That's what it's called. That's the town I want to live in. And I will be oceanside, barefoot, bikini top on, helping people walk towards the next best version of themselves, just like I am. And I'm still building. I probably always will be. But the difference is I'm not fucking afraid. I am not afraid anymore. And I know how to turn this shit on. I'm making art again. I'm writing. and I'm stepping more fully into my authentic expression and my creativity and my flaws, like more beautifully and gracefully than I ever fucking have. Because my mission in life is to not only remove the shame that I fucking carry around, but to help you remove yours. Because you deserve to be fucking rich, wealthy as fuck, if that's what you want. And you don't have to slap the word abundance on it to make it acceptable. You know, there's so many conversations out there that's like, let's have the controversial conversation about money and yoga. It's not controversial, y'all. It's outdated. It's old. That's what that is. Money for yoga teachers should be the norm. And we are riddled in this industry with people thinking that money's not spiritual or that it's hard and you can't make a living doing that, and that we all have to be quiet and zen about it because we don't want to rock the boat. No, you just don't want people to not like you. You just don't want people to have negative opinions about you or think that you're bad, right? Is it extremely hard to make money as a yoga teacher when you're just teaching yoga classes for other people? Yes. Are studio models shitty for that? Yes. And the problem isn't that we should fix it. The problem is that you should go out there and have bigger dreams. Go do more things than that. If you want to teach at a yoga studio for fun, great. Don't everybody go quit your jobs. We need you. But like, there's so much more to it than that. That's a model that worked in the 1980s when it was developed. Like literally, look at it historically. It has to change. It has to shift. And it has for so many people. You're just not on board yet, y'all. Leaning all the way into exactly who I am and saying the things that are true for me is when my business exploded. That's when I made more money. That's when I got better clients. That's when I worked with people that were more aligned with me. And that is when I started feeling better than I ever have. You already have everything you fucking need inside of you, y'all. A $27 course is not going to fix any of your problems. Instead, you need to become more you. You need to become a business owner so that that person can run a business, learn the skills that business owners have, right? That's my superpower. My superpower is helping other people see and believe in themselves and then building a real fucking strategy around that so that you can fucking make money. I want to liberate every single person that I can, every yoga teacher that is out there, of all of their limitations and perceptions that they have about themselves and the world around them, about how they are supposed to be or the person that they think they are supposed to be, so you can go after what you actually fucking want in your life and kill it. If you're burnt the fuck out, I'm going to say something that's going to probably annoy you. You don't need another certification. You probably lack boundaries and are doing work that you don't actually want to do. Because when you're doing work that you want to do, trust me and believe, you can work so hard and you love it. You love it. You don't burn out. I worked for like 15 hours yesterday. My girlfriend had to be like, go to bed. Everybody who lands in my DMs, I hear the same thing from yoga teachers all the time. I'm burnt out and I hate social media. It's not a work ethic problem, guys. Like, you are all working hard. It's boundaries. It's your leadership skills. It's you don't have systems that actually fit you. You're trying to follow somebody else's fucking system. Do you know how many times I've tried to follow somebody else's system from like a template or a course or like a plug and play bullshit thing I've bought, and you don't have any real goals? You are running in 27 different directions and none of them actually move your revenue needle. You do not have to teach 15 classes a week. You don't need a 300-hour teacher training. You don't need to have perfect spreadsheets or immaculate back of house systems to make absurd amounts of money. I'm messy. I get a little bit more organized every year. AI really helps. I have AI like run almost all of my back of house. It's amazing. But at the same time, in all of that mess, in all of the beautiful chaos and the flaws and the imperfections and the beauty of everything that I am, I've also had a $30,000 month and have had predictable, incredible income. This, my friends, is what I teach in the Permission to Be Rich Mastermind. This is the coaching that you get in our coaching groups. This is the magic that you will experience in our in-person retreat in Sedona, Arizona when you join. My God, I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm obsessed. I'm talking to a private chef this week and I can't even believe it. I can't believe it. Like, I can't believe that this is my fucking life. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. Depending on when you're listening to this, I have like a couple founding member spots left. This isn't a massive, huge group. It's not supposed to be for now. So if you want in, go grab your spot because I'm raising the price tomorrow. $3,000, literally. If you want to work hard, if you want to get visible, if you want to have so much fucking fun doing what you're doing, if you have that feeling in your belly, where you're like, I know that I am meant for so much fucking more. If you want to be famous for what you do, if you want to make more money, say it out loud because I do too. And there's nothing wrong with that. This program is not for you to be rescued. I'm never going to rescue you. I'm not going to convince you that you deserve more or you deserve to make money, but I will show you how. You are going to shift those beliefs in yourself because you're ready to receive it. I put the link in the show notes, or you can DM me on Instagram at Weeby Yoga Official if you have any questions. I'd love to chat. But that's me. That's my story. If you're brand new here, welcome. If you've been here for like my other little podcast, thank you for coming back. And if there's one thing I want you to take out of this podcast, out of this episode, it's that I didn't get here by finding the right course or following the perfect system or doing things right or waiting till things were perfect or figuring it all out ahead of time. I got here because I invested in myself and the skills that I needed with coaching and mentorship. That is what I did. And I stopped outsourcing me. I hope you fucking loved this episode, and I'll see you on the next one.